Okay, so have you ever been scrolling through social media and it's like, bam, everyone's a rock star
Oh, right.
in their career or like relationships or some creative thing they've got going on, and you're kind of sitting there like,
Yeah, like everyone else has this whole success thing figured out.
and you're just like still trying to figure out what to have for dinner.
Totally. It's so easy to get caught up in those comparisons, right?
Exactly, and it makes you feel like you're just not there yet.
Maybe those people were just born with some kind of master gene or something.
Right, like they woke up one day with all the talent and
But
success.
in mastery, you know that book by Robert Greene?
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
He says that's a total myth.
Really?
He spent years researching these like legendary figures like the Da Vinci's, the Mozarts, even modern day giants in their fields.
So it's not all just like predestined greatness.
Nope. He says it all comes down to a process. Mastery isn't some elusive gift. It's something you build step by step.
So anyone can achieve mastery. That's kind of empowering when you think about it that way.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is what Greene calls the resistance. It's that feeling of doubt, that frustration, even boredom that inevitably pops up on the path to mastery.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well.
Right. We all do. It's part of the process. It means you're pushing yourself, you're challenging your limits, but that's where the real growth happens.
That's a good point. So if it's a process, where do we even begin? Like, what's step one on this journey to mastery?
Well, Greene lays out a really fascinating framework in the book. He says it unfolds in three distinct phases: apprenticeship, creative active, and then ultimately mastery itself.
3 phases, huh? Sounds kind of like those video games where you level up your character.
Haha, I like that analogy. And just like in a game, each phase comes with its own set of challenges and rewards.
So it's not like you just climb this ladder and boom, you're a master.
Exactly. It's more like a spiral. You might circle back to the apprenticeship phase multiple times throughout your journey, always learning, evolving, refining your skills.
And he backs this up with examples, right? It's not just those historical figures we always hear about.
Absolutely. He's got everyone from Benjamin Franklin to Paul Graham, the computer scientist. It's like this framework applies to any field you can think of, from music to martial arts to, well, even mastering the art of podcasting.
Well, we're trying. Okay, so we've got these 3 phases, but what really makes this concept of mastery so powerful is that it's about more than just like technical skills, right?
You hit the nail on the head. Each of these phases is about a much deeper transformation. It's about changing your mindset, your perception, your whole approach to life, really.
So it's like mastery is less about the end goal, like, I don't know, winning a Nobel Prize or becoming a world-renowned chef. It's more about the journey of becoming, well, a master of yourself in a way, right?
That's a fantastic way to put it. It's about aligning with what Greene calls your life's task, that thing you're uniquely suited for, and then committing yourself to this journey of continual learning and development.
Okay, hold on, rewind for a sec. How do you even figure out what your life's task is? Some people might feel a strong pull towards something specific.
Right, like a calling.
Yeah, but what if you don't have that clear aha moment? What if you're still exploring, still figuring things out?
That's a question we all grapple with at some point. And you know what? It's okay to not have it all figured out from the get-go. Greene offers some really practical strategies for uncovering your life's task.
Oh, so we shouldn't get too hung up on having it all figured out right away.
Absolutely not. It's a process of discovery. It's about paying attention to what excites you, what challenges you, even what frustrates you.
Okay, I like that. So instead of stressing about finding that one true calling, maybe it's more about just diving into different things, exploring different paths, and seeing where they lead.
Precisely. And that's what this whole deep dive is all about. We're going to unpack these phases, those strategies Greene provides, and hopefully give you some actionable tools to start applying this concept of mastery to your own life.
Love it. All right, so for those of you listening, here's a little thought experiment. Imagine this. What if you approached your work, whatever it is you do, even if you're not head over heels in love with it yet, with this mastery mindset?
Ooh, I like that. So instead of just going through the motions, you're bringing this intentionality, this commitment to growth and excellence
Yeah.
to everything you do.
Exactly. Because it's not just about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about becoming the best version of yourself in everything you do.
And who knows, maybe through that journey, you might stumble upon that passion, that life's task that you didn't even know you were searching for.
I'm ready to dive in. But first, let's take a quick break, and then we'll jump into the first phase of Greene's framework, the apprenticeship phase, right after this.
Sounds good. I'm ready when you are.
Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep into Robert Greene's mastery, exploring those crucial steps to, well, mastering anything.
That's right. And before the break, We were knee-deep in the apprenticeship phase.
The first phase on this journey to mastery, right? But it's not just about, like, fetching coffee for your mentors, right?
Aha, definitely not. Though a little caffeine never hurt anyone, Greene's talking about something way deeper. He breaks down the apprenticeship phase into 3 key steps. The first one is skill acquisition.
Okay, so that one seems kind of self-explanatory, right? You're trying to master something, you gotta learn the skills, duh.
Right, it seems obvious on the surface, but Greene digs deeper here. It's not just about passively taking in information. He's talking about really owning the skill. Relentless practice, repetition, almost like you're embedding it into your muscle memory.
Right, like it becomes second nature. I think he even uses this phrase, internalize the skill.
Exactly. It's got to
Uh-huh.
become a part of you, almost instinctive.
Yeah.
And that's where that whole idea, the 10,000-hour rule comes in.
Yeah. The idea that it takes 10,000 hours of practice to truly master something.
Exactly. But Greene adds this important caveat. It's not just about clocking in the hours. It's about the quality of those hours. Like, are you just going through the motions, or are you really pushing yourself, challenging your limits in every practice session?
So it's got to be focused, deliberate practice, not just mindless repetition,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And this ties into the second step, connecting with a mentor. Because finding the right mentor can make all the difference in how you approach those practice hours.
So it's about finding someone who can guide you, push you in the right direction, kind of like a Yoda to your Luke Skywalker. Exactly. Although, hopefully with fewer levitating rocks involved. But yeah, Greene stresses that a true mentor doesn't just teach, they challenge and provoke. They see potential in you that you maybe don't even see in yourself, and they help you draw that out.
It's like they hold up a mirror, but not just any mirror one that shows you your potential, your best self.
I like that. It's about finding someone who can help you become the best version of yourself within that chosen field.
So we've got skill acquisition, mentorship, then Greene adds this curveball, experimentation. So it's not enough to just practice like crazy and have a mentor guide you. You got to go rogue a little bit. Well, not exactly rogue, but Greene does argue that blindly following instructions will only get you so far. To reach mastery, you have to find your own voice, your own unique way of doing things, and that requires some experimentation. It's about pushing the boundaries of what you've learned, exploring those uncharted territories.
So it's not just about coloring inside the lines. It's about maybe grabbing a few extra crayons and seeing what happens.
I like that analogy. It's about bringing your own unique perspective to the table.
He's not saying to just throw all the rules out the window, right? It's about informed experimentation. Yeah.
Absolutely. You've got to have that strong foundation first, the deep understanding of the fundamentals. But then it's about using that foundation to explore, to play around with your skill set, to find what makes your approach unique.
I'm curious, have you experienced that in your own journey? That moment when experimentation led to some kind of breakthrough?
Oh, absolutely. I remember when I was first starting out, I was so focused on doing everything right, following the established rules.
Playing it safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then one day, I just decided, you know what? I'm going to try something completely different, something that went against everything I'd been taught.
What happened?
It was a total disaster, at first anyway. But then something really interesting happened. Because I stepped outside of my comfort zone, I stumbled upon a new way of approaching the problem, a new technique I'd never even considered before.
So that failure actually led you to a breakthrough.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of experimentation.
Yeah.
It allows you to learn and grow in ways you never could have imagined if you just stuck to the well-trodden path.
So even failures can be valuable learning opportunities on the path to mastery, as long as we're open to embracing them.
Precisely. And that's a perfect segue into the next phase, the creative active phase, where things get even more exciting because we take all that hard-earned knowledge, all those lessons learned from experimentation, and we start to really make our mark on the world. But we'll dive into that right after this quick break.
Okay, so we've put in the hours, we've embraced the power of experimentation, even when it led to a few epic fails along the way.
Been there.
Haven't we all? But now we're moving on from just, like, learning the ropes to actually creating something new, right? This is the creative active phase.
Exactly. This is where things get really interesting. We're transitioning from absorber to creator, from student to innovator. You've internalized the rules, mastered the fundamentals. Now it's time to break free from those very same rules, to tap into that unique perspective you've been cultivating.
And Greene has this really cool concept he introduces in this phase, the dimensional mind. Now, I gotta be honest, it sounds a bit like something out of a science fiction movie.
I can see why you'd say that.
Yeah.
But it's actually a really powerful way to think about creativity and innovation. It's about reclaiming that childlike ability to make those unexpected connections, to see patterns where others see chaos.
So like thinking outside the box.
Exactly. It's about expanding your mental dimensions, breaking free from that linear thinking, and embracing a more holistic, interconnected way of seeing the world.
So instead of just connecting the dots, we're like drawing the whole picture from scratch.
You got it. It's about seeing possibilities where others might see limitations, about finding those hidden connections that lead to truly innovative ideas.
That makes sense. It's about bringing that sense of wonder and playfulness back into our work. I remember Greene using a few really fascinating examples to illustrate this. One that stuck with me was Keats's idea of negative gettability.
Ah, yes. That's a perfect example of what we're talking about. It's about being comfortable with uncertainty, with not having all the answers right away.
Because if you think you already know everything, you're probably not going to discover anything new, right?
Exactly. It's about staying open to new possibilities, even when things feel a little bit, well, messy and uncertain.
It's like navigating a new city without a map. You might feel a little lost at times, but you're also open to those unexpected discoveries, right? Stumbling upon hidden gems you never would have found if you stuck to the main roads.
Precisely. And that ties into another concept Greene highlights in this phase serendipity. It's about recognizing and embracing those happy accidents, those unexpected discoveries that can pop up when we're in that state of openness and curiosity.
Like Alexander Fleming and the discovery of penicillin. I mean, talk about a happy accident. He wasn't even looking for it. But because his mind was primed to make those connections, he was able to recognize the significance of that moldy petri dish.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of this phase. It's about cultivating that mindset that's receptive to those unexpected insights, those aha moments that can lead to real breakthroughs.
Okay, so this is all starting to make sense, but how do we actually put it into practice? How do we cultivate this dimensional mind in our own lives? How do we break out of those old thinking patterns and invite more of those happy accidents?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Well, Greene offers a few practical strategies in mastery, and one of the most powerful, I think, is simply becoming more aware of our own thinking processes.
You mean like hitting the pause button on autopilot and paying attention to how we're approaching problems, how we're thinking through challenges?
Exactly. Are we stuck in a rut, using the same old mental models over and over again? Or are we actively seeking out new perspectives, new ways of framing the issue at hand?
So it's like stepping outside of our own heads for a second and looking at the problem from a different angle, like maybe even turning it upside down.
Love that analogy. And the amazing thing is that when we start to do this consciously, when we start to pay attention to those thought patterns, we actually begin to see those connections we missed before. Solutions that seemed impossible suddenly become obvious.
And those happy accidents, they start to feel a little less like accidents and more like an inevitable byproduct of this shift in how we're seeing the world.
Exactly. It's like we're tuning our minds to a different frequency, one that's more receptive to those creative insights, those breakthroughs.
So it's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter, more creatively.
Exactly. And this brings us to that final stage of Greene's framework, mastery. And the thing about mastery is it's not about reaching some final destination, like you don't just wake up one day and bam, you're a master. It's a lifelong journey of learning, of growth, of continually pushing ourselves beyond what we thought was possible.
So it's about the journey, not the destination. It's less about reaching the summit and more about enjoying the climb.
Beautifully put. It's about finding that joy in the pursuit of excellence, in the continual refinement of our skills and our perspectives. And the best part, it's something that's available to all of us, no matter what field we're in, no matter our area of expertise.
And that, my friend, is the most empowering takeaway from mastery. It's a call to action, an invitation to approach our lives, our work, our passions with that renewed sense of purpose, of curiosity, and most importantly, a deep appreciation for the journey itself.
It's about embracing the process, the ups and downs, the challenges and the triumphs, because that's where the real growth happens.
It's about becoming the best version of ourselves, one step at a time. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into Robert Greene's mastery. We hope you found this exploration as insightful and inspiring as we have, and that you'll take these ideas, these strategies, and start applying them to your own journey towards mastery.
Absolutely. And remember, it all starts with a single step.
And who knows, maybe that one step will lead you to places you never even dreamed possible. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.